Hey y'all, it's Carter here with CB Home Solutions, and in this video we are going to be going over the inherited property checklist. Now this checklist is 14 pages, 13 to 14 pages. It is a lot of information. So I just want to preface this video with that. You should have this exact file that I'm about to share with you in your email in the next couple minutes. So check your spam folder if you don't see it, but it'll come from carter@flipfoxvalley.com, my personal email. So a quick background on me, and then we'll dive into this checklist together. So I operate a house buying business throughout the Wisconsin area. We're central to Oshkosh, but we buy basically throughout the state at this point, and we are interested in acquiring more properties. So if you have a property that you're interested in selling, you don't want to list it for sale, you don't want to deal with repairs or cleaning out or anything like that, please reach out to us, whether it's via email or to our other website, wihomesale.com. So without further ado, let's jump into this together. I'm going to present my screen, and this video is 100% uncut. So if something comes up or something happens, that is the reason why. Okay, so we have the inherited property seller's checklist here. Now I'm not going to jump into an extreme amount of detail, but I'm going to highlight these things because there's very important things that you will want to be aware of. And then there's other things that you can reference back to, or once you get the guide in your email or the checklist in your email, you can of course read over this in a lot more detail. But let's jump into this together. And I have multiple monitors looking up. So if you don't see me looking at the camera, I'm looking at my other computer monitor that I have. So first things first, you're going to want to confirm your ownership and legal status, or the ownership and legal status of the property. So what does this mean? Check if the property has clear title. Sorry about that. Now, if the property has clear title, you can either figure this out via an attorney, a title company, and this walks you through that entire process. So why clear title matters, it ensures that you can transfer the ownership without any issues, and you can transfer it from your name to the next name or whomever if you plan on selling it or renting it or whatever the case might be. And then it prevents any legal complications that you might have. So common issues, like if there's unpaid liens or ownership disputes with other heirs or past owners or fraudulent claims or anything like that, that's very uncommon. The biggest thing, especially with inherited property, is other heirships to the estate. So if you have multiple siblings or family members or whatever the case is, that is what we find is the most common pitfalls, especially when it comes to selling the property. If people can agree upon price and terms and the amount of money coming back to them, that's what they try to do. So common issues, like I said, we already went through this. Ownership disputes, heirs in public record, easements or encroachments. We've only ran across this one or two times over the hundreds of properties that we've bought. So identifying all the heirs who may have legal interest. Identifying multiple heirs to an inherited property involved researching owner records, legal documents. This will pertain to each individual situation. So generally speaking, I'm going to zoom this in so it's easier to see. You want to check to see if there's a will. If something is specified within the will, that'll help with heirship. Now, if there is nothing specified in the will or there's no will, then you will have to file some other legal proceedings in regards to possible probate or whatever would be necessary. And I do also have a probate guide. It is available at foxvalleyprobate.com. It'll be the similar situation scenario to this. You can download that, and it will tell you if you need to go through the probate process or if you do not need to go through the probate process, and it at least walks you through those steps. Again, that's a very informational based guide in hopes of helping homeowners such as yourself. So again, this goes through all of these different things as it pertains to identifying all the heirs in legal proceedings with the property. So work with a probate attorney or title company. That will always help. And if you need a contact for an attorney who specializes in estates or probate process, feel free to email me, carter@flipfoxvalley.com. I can definitely help you out there. Now, the next thing you need to do on the inherited property checklist is assess the property's condition. This will ultimately determine, okay, do you want to sell it? Do you want to stick money into it? Do you want to sell it as is, clean it out, whatever the case is? And in any of these scenarios, what I want to warn you against before I jump into like the checklist that I put together is the fact that once you start doing renovations on the property, it could potentially open you up to future liability because you knew of something that was going on that you either neglected to fix, or you decided against fixing it, or you just didn't give it any credit towards it whatsoever. So be cautious when it comes to repairing, remodeling inherited properties. Always try to sell them as is if you can, or do very, very minimal cosmetic things, paint, flooring. But if you start going to the extreme, it does open you up to future liability. But assessing the property's condition, this is a comprehensive checklist of interior, exterior, foundation work, roof, siding, windows, that sort of thing. So this just goes over these: structural and exterior, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, pests, all of those items. Now, again, if you want a little bit more sophisticated look at this, then hire a third-party home inspector. They will tell you exactly what is going on with the place, what is wrong, and then you will have a third-party report that you can refer back to. So then, you're just taking steps in the process. That costs roughly between $350 to $550, potentially more. It's typically dependent upon the size of the property. Now, decide if you want to sell as is or invest in fixing the property up. So these are just quick tips on assessing the condition, of course, deciding, okay, do I want to sell it as is? Do I want to stick money into it? And I go over the pros and cons of everything on this part. So decision tips are just things to think on, things to reflect on, and it'll help you throughout the decision-making process. You can share this with friends, family members, whomever is helping you throughout this process. So we kind of go over return on investment, consider your financial situation, evaluate the market conditions, all of these different factors, time involved in doing it, and then tax implications, which I'll get into in just a little bit. Now, here are some of the costs, the typical costs of holding on to a place for a little bit more time. So we got property taxes, mortgage payments, homeowners insurance, utilities, maintenance. The one thing that I do want to make you aware of, if a property is sitting vacant, I would ask the neighboring properties to please watch over that particular house for you if you do not live close in the area. Because what can happen is people see that a property is vacant and they take advantage of the situation. So just a forewarning there, ask the neighbors to watch over things, and it'll save you in the long run. Now, identifying outstanding debts and expenses. Here's another thing to check out for: mortgage balances, liens, unpaid property taxes, homeowners associations, if it's in a homeowners association, or condo dues. These are all things that a title search will uncover if you take it to that extent, but also a lot of it is public record, or if the individual you inherited the property from, if they have this information privy to them. So again, you can do a title search, county records, mortgage lenders, tax records, HOAs, so on and so forth. Now, understanding probate and the legal requirements. This is, as I had mentioned before, go to foxvalleyprobate.com, download your free Is Probate Required guide. I would highly recommend that. I've spent numerous hours assembling both of these things. The probate guide I am extremely proud of, because we have went into a ton of detail on that. And then any paperwork that you need for the probate process, you can just find, if you go to Google, Wisconsin probate paperwork. It's available on the Wisconsin Circuit Court website. So obtaining legal authority to sell a property, when you're going through the probate process, this goes through all of that. I'll breeze through this just to try to keep this short. And then lastly, or one of the last things, is consider the tax implications. Are you going to be taxed on this money? Now, there's what's called a step-up basis in taxes. So it means that when you inherit the property, you inherit it at the current fair market value. Now, if you sell it for above that, you will have to pay taxes on that gain. If you sell it for below that, of course, you don't need to pay taxes on the gain. And here's some examples. So if your parents' home was bought for $100,000, but it was worth $300,000 when they passed, your new cost basis is $300,000. If you sell it for $310,000, you only owe the capital gains of $10,000 in profit, not the full $210,000 gain. However, if you have real estate agents or whatever the case is, this $10,000 profit is probably eliminated due to commissions and closing costs and all those other things. And it's no different if you're selling to a direct buyer such as ourselves. Now, capital gains when selling the property. This goes over short-term, long-term capital gains. And of course, I'm not an accountant. I have deciphered this information into easy, bite-size bits for yourself. And then property taxes. Of course, you are responsible for the property taxes. Inheritance tax, estate tax, renting out the property, gifting the property, and then filing requirements and reporting. This goes over that. Now, exploring your selling options. This is the last thing that's part of this inherited property checklist that I wanted to go over. So your selling options, you can list it for sale on the market, you can sell it to a direct buyer such as ourselves, or you can rent it out, or you can sell it to a family member. It's one of those following options. So listing it with a realtor, I briefly go over that in this section, kind of what the typical fees you might face, the issues that you might run across, especially with inherited properties, specifically to inherited properties. And I have a real estate license. I list and sell all of our places. So this is very common practice when we are going through things, but it just goes over repair costs and time on the market, possible financing or appraisal issues, inconvenience, uncertainty, and then of course the probate issues that might come with it. Now, selling to a cash buyer. This does come at a sacrifice on price in most cases. However, it is much more convenient. And of course, I'm biased to this because we'd love to purchase the property. If that's something of interest, you can fill out the form down below on this page. But with any of those things, cash buyers, it's a fast closing if that's what you wish. Now, you can, of course, leave items behind. You can sell it as is. There's no real estate agent commissions. There's no fees. There's no inspections that you're going to have to repair stuff from. It's a very simple and easy process, but it does typically come at a sacrifice on price. There's no appraisals, financing contingencies, anything like that. Of course, no showings, open houses, holding costs, all of these different items. And then lastly, here's the way to contact us. You can reach out to us in any of these ways, or of course, if you're interested, fill out the form down below, and then we can get you a direct offer for your specific property. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick overview of the guide that I had emailed over. If you have questions or you do not receive the guide, please reply back to me and I will, again, attach it, send it over to you so you can download it, review it, share it with friends, family members, whomever is helping you with this process. But again, my name's Carter Crowley, owner of CB Home Solutions. We purchase properties throughout Wisconsin. We would love to help you with any property that you're currently dealing with and provide you a no obligation estimate as to what we could pay or even what you could list it for as is. So I will plan on talking to you soon. I appreciate your time.